Hello, hello. Welcome to this week's edition of Tuesday Talks. It is going to be a different topic than I originally planned, but that's cool. That's life, right? Amanda could not join me today, so no big deal. We'll do it next week. Gotta hydrate. I feel like I'm gonna regret not having my air conditioner on right now, but I have the windows open. But if you join me live, say hello. Let me know you're here. If you're catching the replay, hashtag replay. And like I said, today I'm going to dive into something different than I initially planned. But it's going to be a super important conversation. I kind of just was like, all right, what feels alive right now? What feels like something that y'all need to hear? Something that I feel like talking about. And I landed on body neutrality because really, it's where it's at. Oh my gosh, it's where it's at. When we hear body love, for those of us who struggled like most of their life with their body, with their relationship with their body, with how they viewed their body, all the things, body love can feel nearly impossible. And it actually might not even be like what it exactly that you want. For me, I just want to be unbothered by my body. Right? I want to be able to like look in the mirror and just be like, cool. That's me, that's my body. And right, I don't need to look in the mirror and be like, "Oh my gosh, I think I'm the hottest thing to walk this earth." No. Yeah, that's good, right? We want to have that energy that like we are fucking it. Yes, I want that for everybody too, right? It's not like you loving yourself or loving the way you look or any of that somehow means that other people are less than. But yeah, it's about being unbothered by your body. Because we are still constantly receiving the message that we need to be younger, thinner, prettier. Like that is what we should be striving for all of the time. So body love can feel really fucking hard. Because this isn't something that like you get to remove yourself from the like messaging of. We can curate our news feed, which I highly recommend. That's like number one tool when trying to really heal the relationship you have with your body and change the way you view it. Diversifying your news feed so you're seeing like all types of bodies, shapes, sizes, colors, ages, genders, like all types of bodies to normalize it, right? Because right now, that has not been normalized. All we really see in the media, movies, celebrities, social media, we're seeing the filtered. We're seeing the now, especially with celebrities, the weight loss drugs, right? Like we're seeing this same ideal pushed at us. And when we don't look that way, because let's face it, most of us don't, and I don't desire to put my resources into trying to look that way, because that's the thing. Like, you're using resources, time, energy, money, mental real estate, all of that, in order to try to fit these ideals, right? But when we're constantly getting this message over and over again, every time we're on social media, shit, even when you're driving down the highway and there's like the billboards for weight loss surgery, we're still receiving the message and the beliefs that we're simultaneously trying to unlearn, right? So it's like not being able to get away from your abuser, which kind of just made me something just clicked in my head with that. Wow, I never really made that connection. Because I am in a situation, my co-parenting situation, where I am trying to essentially heal from the abuse, especially of my divorce. It was very ugly, while also still experiencing it. Not to the same level, but I'm still experiencing it, right? So it's really hard. And it's something that we have to come back to, like, regularly. Even when you do this work with me on body image, which, side note, the whole goal of Body Image Breakthrough, my group program, it's like group program / mastermind because it's going to be a year, 12 months together. And yes, I'll be teaching and you'll be unlearning, mostly unlearning. It's really a space for us to come together and all share our stories too. But anyways, the work we do in there, the goal is body neutrality. It is not to learn how to love the way your body looks. It is not even to learn how to love your body. It's reaching that place of neutrality around your body so you can treat yourself with love, like your whole self, right? Actually, Amanda, who was originally going to be here with me today, which will be here next week, one of the things that she said shifted for her the most after doing the work with me and being in Body Image Breakthrough was, and she shared this on, like, I have permission to share this. She shared it on a previous client confessional video that we did. That one of the biggest shifts was when she looked in the mirror. She was no longer looking at, like, what she saw, but who she saw. Right? The distraction of, like, the physical body and picking it apart was no longer there. Because how many of us look in the mirror and just immediately zone in on specific body parts or places of our bodies that we don't like. That's what we're trained to do. That's what the conditioning leads us to do, to be so unsatisfied with what we see in the mirror and to be so hyper focused on it that when we look in the mirror, we can't see beyond that. We can't see the whole human that we are. We can just see, oh, my belly, oh, my arms, oh, this, that, and tear ourselves apart. So the goal with body neutrality is to get to a place where, like, you're looking in the mirror and you might feel some sort of way about how your body looks. Like, we don't bypass those feelings. This is not easy shit to unlearn, and it's not an easy lens to remove from your eyes, right? Because right now we're viewing our bodies through the lens of these very unrealistic, harmful, racist, oppressive beauty standards that we'll never live up to unless we keep using our resources, like I said before, our money, lots of money. Celebrities spend lots of money to look the way they do. And we're over here thinking like something is wrong with us because we don't look like that. They're literally investing money into their appearance to look that way. We can't really compete with that. And maybe we don't want to, right? I don't want to anymore. I did that forever. The trying to keep up, the trying to be conventionally beautiful and to be seen that way. And it's like, I don't want to do that anymore. But the thought of loving my body felt really hard. I thought like I needed to. When I had my, aha moment where I'm looking at my daughter who was just a baby at the time, 8 months old, and now she's 8 years old. And I'm like, shit, I'm going to teach her how to hate herself if I don't fucking do something. Because, like, I'm modeling that. And I always said, I don't want to, if I have kids, I don't want to give them my messed up relationship with food and my body. Like, that was a top goal when I would think about becoming a parent. Like, there's no way that they can also go through this. Because it was so top of mind and so all-consuming. And I spent, the energy, the time, the mental real estate. I feel grateful that when I entered my 20s and was working in a beauty salon, like I was a hairstylist and makeup artist. I was in the industry. I was in the trenches. And I was receiving the message like even more than before because I was in this environment where it was all about appearance. Right? Helping women feel confident, but through altering their appearance to make them feel confident. You know what I mean? Like, the confidence now that I help women with, not just women, I work with men too. I work with all people, humans. The confidence that I help humans cultivate now comes from like the inside, not to sound corny and cliche. It comes from self-trust. It comes from doing scary things, right? By flexing your courage muscle and saying, oh shit, I am wildly more capable than I ever thought. That's the kind of confidence that we want to build. That's the kind of confidence that carries you through life, where you start like getting whatever you want. You know what I mean? Like things just seem to start working, and it's not like it's magic. It's because you're continuing to take action, courageous action. And usually that courageous action is leading you to like your dreams and your desires. And instead, we've been so distracted by trying to look a certain way, right? By trying to source our self-love and confidence from our appearance. And it never feels good enough. It never feels good enough, especially because the beauty and body standards literally change, right? Like heroin chic is back in style now, which body sizes and types being like in style or not, or trending, is just wild, but that is our reality, which again is why body love can feel so difficult. And really, if we think about it, if our goal is to learn how to love the way we look, we're still kind of reinforcing the belief that the way we look determines our worth and our desirability. That might be a stretch, but I feel like it does. Yeah, so instead, when we get to this place of body neutrality, we're not distracted by the appearance and the aesthetics of our body. We might not be in love with it. Like, I'm not sitting here saying I get in front of the mirror every day and I'm like, oh my God, I'm hot shit. No, but I can tell you one thing, I don't get in the mirror anymore and think, ugh, or yuck, or, oh, I can't believe I did it again. I don't start picking myself apart. I don't start, pinching and prodding and doing all of the things. I've caught myself recently, I will be honest, starting to do that, and then I'd be like, nope, I'm not available for that. I'm not available to pick myself apart in the mirror anymore. Because again, what is that doing? Reinforcing the beliefs that I have worked so hard to shift away from. The belief that puts our worth in our appearance and that leaves us just at war with the mirror forever, right? Like no matter what we do you ever wonder why you look back at a picture when you were younger, maybe thinner, and you're like, oh man, I wish I appreciated it. I didn't even know it. That right there goes to show you it is not your body that is the problem. It never has been. It's the way we view our bodies. And the way we view our bodies is through, again, this patriarchal lens of what somebody decided was beautiful. Right? We view our bodies from this objectifying lens where we're picking ourselves apart, where we're not looking at ourselves as whole humans, and we're judging ourselves, comparing ourselves, holding ourselves up to this standard that is impossible. Impossible. And when we don't have the resources, that's the other thing. You might not even have the resources. You might have the desire, right? You might want to look the way they're telling us to look. You might want to get the injections. You might want to do all the things, do you, right? Body autonomy, number one. But you likely, or there's a chance you don't even have the resources to do that. The time, the money. It's a lot. I don't wear makeup because I find it physically uncomfortable. Which, if it's physically uncomfortable, it's very distracting to me. Am I anti-makeup? No, not at all. I'm anti doing things from a place of shame and fear and feeling like you have to fix yourself. But I'm not anti-makeup. For me, makeup is a distraction. It's uncomfortable. I don't want to distract myself anymore, especially with my body. And our bodies are huge distractions, right? So I don't wear makeup anymore, which means for me to get ready to go somewhere, it's quick. And I love it. I love it. Because I don't know if you know this about me, for lack of a better word, I'm lazy. I like to chill. I would rather be sitting on my couch for an hour before I go somewhere than standing in front of the mirror putting makeup on and doing my hair. I don't want to do it. I did for a very long time, and now, whew, I like simple. And body neutrality really has given me that opportunity to simplify even more. Because I really like simple. My goal in life is for things to just be simple. Simple business model, simple, I call it like the back end of my life with bills and finances and all that stuff that's happening. I want it all simple and streamlined. And body neutrality has actually helped with that. Right? I can stay in bed longer in the morning if I want to because I don't need 2 hours to get ready. I can let my hair just air dry. Does it always look the best? Nope. Do I care? Not really. Not enough to actually stand in front of the mirror with a blow dryer and brush to style it. Again, when I talk about this stuff and what I do, it's not to tell you that what you're doing is wrong. We're trying to get away from that, the making ourselves wrong. We're just trying to do things, especially with our bodies and to our bodies, that feel really aligned with what we actually desire. I desire to love and accept myself and to simplify and to no longer be distracted by my body. One of the reasons I even cut my hair, I used to have really long hair. I experimented in high school and stuff. I had short hair. I had a pixie cut when I was in high school. And then it grew and all the different colors or whatever. I forgot where I was going with this. Oh, but when I started hairdressing school, my hair was down here. And it was very healthy. And when you're in cosmetology school, the instinct is do all the things to your hair. And I was I'm not letting you people touch my hair. You don't know what you're doing. You can trim it, but that's about it. And then when I started working at the salon, I remember my old boss asking me, is that your real hair? And I was yeah, it is actually. And then one day I'm fuck it, I need to cut it. I couldn't do it anymore. I could not sweat in my bathroom blow drying my hair anymore. I fucking hated it. And then what did I end up doing a lot? Oh, I'm going to put it in a ponytail. So I'm why the fuck do I have this long hair if I'm going to be putting it in a ponytail and I don't fucking want to do it? I would blow a fuse. The apartment I lived in, the air conditioner, I'd blow a fuse if I was using the blow dryer at the same time. And I was fuck this. I need to cut it. And I fucking love my hair short. But the long hair was distracting because I was hot. I was hot even after I did it. And it became a distraction. Now I'm not trying to be distracted by my body. I'm not trying to wear clothes that are uncomfortable in the name of fashion or even punishment. I feel I'm not the only one, and maybe somebody out there can relate to wearing specific clothes that are uncomfortable or too tight as motivation. Yep, did that for a really long time. Really long time. And I wouldn't allow myself to wear comfortable clothes. That kind of just hit me right there because I flashed back to when I was working in the salon and we had to wear all black, which my wardrobe was also not colorful at all. Now it's full of color. I wish it was even more colorful. But I remember finding these black pants that looked like dress pants. But they were cotton, a thick cotton, and an elastic waist, right? Now, totally normal. This is the shit we live for, and we love to buy these types of clothes. I'm talking 10, 15 years ago. Time flies. Shit. And I remember these pants and I love them because they were so comfortable. But then I was like, oh, I can't wear elastic waist because then I'll just like, I'll lose track of if I'm being good or not, right? I needed to like know if my pants were getting tight. And I stopped wearing those comfortable pants when I was like, oh no, see what happened? Because I was wearing the comfortable pants, I then let myself go, and now my other pants are too tight. So I'd go back to wearing the too tight pants as motivation. When really, is it motivation when it's coming from shame? Not really. It's more like self-harm and abuse. So this space of body neutrality is really wonderful. Really wonderful. Especially if you have like a lifetime of struggles with your body and being hyper focused on it and dissatisfied and feeling like, what the fuck, I hate my body. There's no way I can swing all the way over to body love. Like, no, that feels impossible. So then what do? Nothing. At least that's how I am. Right? It feels too overwhelming, too big. Like, nope, that's not for me. That's great for her, but not for me. There's no way. But body neutrality gets us to swing like right in the middle here. Instead of trying to go all the way here, we're just going to be right in the middle where we're unbothered by the way our bodies look. And still allow ourselves to have the feelings about them. Like, we don't bypass that shit. We don't fake it till we make it. Affirmations are great. And also, you can't just look in the mirror and affirmation yourself into loving yourself more or accepting yourself or being unbothered by your body. Like, no, you can't. I lost shit. I was going somewhere with that before it escaped my brain, the usual. But yeah, one of my favorite examples, I'll give you this. I will wrap up soon because I'm doing my best to keep these to 30 minutes, although I don't think I have yet to do that. One of my favorite examples about body neutrality and like what it looks like in your life is, I was talking about bypassing, which this story or this example will kind of go into it, but like, you're fully allowed to look in the mirror and be like, fuck, I don't like I don't like any of that. And also be like, but you're a badass bitch. Right? Like, I don't love the way my belly looks, but I am very unbothered by it. I'm very neutral about it. And when I say neutral, I wanted to kind of emphasize not to bypass the actual feelings you have about it, because the goal is to not look in the mirror and just feel nothing either. I know when we hear neutrality, you then feel like, well, I'm supposed to feel nothing. So then you're on this journey, you're looking in the mirror, you're wanting to just feel like nothing about it and have no emotion come up, and it's happening. You're like, what the fuck? I can't even do this. Just like striving for body love, we can feel like we're setting ourselves up for failure. And then you're like, oh, fuck. See, here's another thing. I can't even love my body. I can't do anything. So it's not about not feeling anything. It's about acknowledging those feelings, allowing those feelings, and then not allowing it to dictate how you then act and move forward and how you treat yourself, right? So being unbothered by it doesn't mean you don't have any feelings about it. It just means you're not going to let those feelings run the show. You're going to acknowledge it. You're going to be like, cool, I don't love the way my thighs look. I don't love it. And also, I'm still going to wear the shorts because it's fucking hot out. And doing this work, like we do in Body Image Breakthrough, gets your inner critic on board with that too. So it quiets the fuck down. We're not going to eliminate the inner critic. Like, that's also setting ourselves up for failure if you think that your inner dialogue is 100% of the time going to be like positive, hype woman, cheerleader. No. Your inner critic is still going to speak up. Mine does. And again, we're constantly being, bombarded with this message that our bodies are wrong, that we need to constantly be striving to fix them, and that especially if you're over a certain age, like, you should be dedicating a significant amount of your resources into looking younger, thinner, and prettier. And if you're not, then you've let yourself go. We're not doing that anymore. Like, we're not doing it anymore. But then your inner critic is still kind of like, okay, well, I love this idea. I love the idea of being unbothered, but what the fuck? This bitch won't shut up in my head. And that's okay. We acknowledge that too. We let that be. We let that exist. Name your inner critic. The first module in Body Image Breakthrough is I'm actually shifting it to this inner critic work. Because I think it's so important right off the bat. In the original course, it's towards the end, but I'm like, no, we got to tackle this early on. Right? And like, one of the things you can do is name your inner critic. Give that bitch a name. So when they pop up, you can be like, okay, have a little conversation and be like, not today. We're not doing that today. I hear you, and no. And it's a lot of these conversations with yourself, especially with our bodies, right? Regularly deciding and redirecting ourselves away from the old, berating ourselves and thinking our bodies are wrong and we need to be doing everything in our power to fix them. We're shifting away from that to just radical acceptance. And you can accept something without being like, oh my God, I'm so happy about it. Right? You can accept something and still not like everything about it. And you can still treat yourself with love. The whole goal here is to treat yourself with love, like your whole human self. And it not be dependent on how you feel about the way your body looks. Right? On a bad body image day, when you're really feeling like, ugh, you know what you do? You double down on the treating yourself with love. Because you know what we would have done in the past? We would... I have too many tabs open. Thank you. It's getting glitchy. In the past, those bad body image days would have led to abusive behaviors. Right? I know, like, I could say that for myself. A bad body image day would have led me to restrict my food, would have led me to ruminate and spiral into all the reasons and ways like I fucked up and this is terrible and awful and all the things. But now, on a bad body image day, that's when it's like, ooh, I'm going to treat myself with lots of love today. Right? Like acts of love. Doing the thing. Writing down a list of all of the things that make you amazing that have nothing to do with your appearance. Asking your friends and support network to like shower you with words of affirmation. Right? And allowing yourself to receive that. Buying yourself flowers. Right? Getting it for me, get my favorite iced latte. Like, yum. Pleasure. All the things make me feel good. Instead of berating ourselves. Like, we're not doing that anymore. Because all it does is make some people a whole lot of money. The diet and beauty industry is fucking astronomical. And I'm sure, I can't even imagine what it is now with all these new weight loss drugs. And I see them on my news feed a lot lately, probably because I've been talking about them in my content. So it's like showing me, and I'm luckily to a point where I'm not like triggered by it or feeling like I might want to engage in that. No, I'm like, damn, here we're still doing this. We're still chasing thinness and spending a lot of money on it. So I've noticed a lot of them are around like the $250 to $300 a month. I'm over here with Body Image Breakthrough at $275 a month, and I'm like, come over here. This is long lasting. The work that we do. We're changing the way you view your body. Because I know, because I've experienced this, even when I had lost the weight, I still wasn't satisfied with what I saw in the mirror. It was never going to be good enough. And I did the whole like look back at a picture and be like, oh damn, I didn't even appreciate it then. right? So we're changing the way we view our bodies. And we're taking the pressure off of ourselves to love the way our bodies look. And we are removing or unattaching self-love to our appearance. Because I hate when I see self-love being marketed as this, like, oh yeah, and confidence, self-love and confidence, and like, get your brows done, like, type of stuff, right? We think that in order to, like, love ourselves, or our appearance is a direct reflection of how much we love ourselves, which is not true. I stopped wearing makeup. The day I stopped wearing makeup, I had the conversation with myself, because again, this work is about a lot of conversations with yourself as shit comes up. And body shit comes up all the fucking time. But I had this conversation with myself because I'm like throwing makeup on real quick in my kitchen to go grocery shopping with my toddler at the time. I can't remember exactly how old she was. And I had already made the decision, like, I have to set this example of self-love for her, even though I don't know what that looks like. So I was questioning and getting curious about a lot of things that I was doing, knowing that I had these two eyes watching me, learning from me. And as, you know, a little girl, I'm her example. I'm her first example and most powerful example of what a woman does, looks like, but behaves, all the things, how a woman moves through the world. So I have these two little eyes watching everything I do, and I took it real seriously, as I do. And I'm putting makeup on, and I was like, oh, what am I teaching her? Because I wasn't sure how I felt, like where I was at when it came to makeup and her. Do I want to not expose her to it? Because that can be detrimental too, right? Do I want to have rules around it? Is it going to be, oh, you're not allowed to wear makeup? Or do I want to make it a bad thing? And I was like, no, I don't want to make it a bad thing. I just don't want to make it a thing that she thinks she needs in order to leave the house. And in that moment, as I'm putting makeup on in my kitchen to go grocery shopping, the reason behind it was because in order to leave the house, I thought I had to make myself look a certain way so nobody would perceive me as someone who let themselves go. I didn't want to be perceived as having let myself go, especially since I had a young child. That's a whole other story, my just like getting used to motherhood and the whole identity shift and all of the things that go along with it. But like I had this little human watching me. And I decided in that moment when I had the conversation with myself, when I said, hey, why are you putting makeup on right now? And it was clear as day. I was like, oh, because I don't want people to think I let myself go. I don't want people to think I'm just like a tired mom. Right? Because we hear that shit. And we've been fed that shit. That like, if you're wearing sweatpants, your hair in a ponytail, no makeup on, you've let yourself go. Like, how could you leave the house like that? And I'm like, no, we're not doing that anymore. And I asked myself in that moment, I was like, do you think you've let yourself go? And it was a quick like, hell no. Because at that point, I was into this work, into the healing and loving myself and all of that. And I felt more love for myself than I ever had up until that moment in my entire life. So I was like, hell no, I don't think I let myself go. So I was like, well then fuck, what am I doing? Why does it matter how others perceive me? It doesn't. Makeup is physically uncomfortable. I don't like wearing it. I'm wearing it because I think I need to fix my face. I'm apologizing when I'm not wearing it. Shit, back in the day on a Sunday, if I didn't put makeup on, like early on in the day, that meant I'm not leaving the house. And you probably can't expect me to leave the house. And if I am going to leave the house, I'm going to need like some notice. Whereas now, I'm not putting makeup on ever, but you could fucking call me at 6:30 on a Sunday if I'm not doing anything and say, hey, I'm going here. You want to meet me in a half hour? And I could say, yeah, sure, no problem. Whereas before, I'd be like, oh, I don't have time. I don't have time to get ready, aka put my makeup on. That's where the freedom comes from with this. Again, it's not about being anti-makeup or anti-anything when it comes to like your appearance, other than being anti-doing stuff from a place of shame and fear. Right? Knowing that you are just as worthy of being seen and just as worthy of experiencing life exactly as you are right now. And yes, we're also receiving the message that we're not worthy every fucking day. So this work it's a slow burn. It never really ends. And it's a decision that you come back to over and over and over again. And you come back to your why over and over and over again. My why being not wanting to teach my daughter and now my son, but he wasn't born when I had that moment of like, fuck, I gotta model something else. My why being that I don't want my kids to experience what I did when it came to my body and food, is enough for me to like never turn back and to deal with the discomfort. To deal with the discomfort of putting on clothes from last summer that don't fit this year while my daughter watches me. And choosing in that moment to not show any dissatisfaction. To just be like, oh yeah, these are a little bit too tight. Maybe I'll get some new ones. That's it. And that wasn't easy. And it's uncomfortable. But again, I just keep coming back to this decision because it's so important to me. And I know, I mean, my daughter's 8. She hasn't said anything about that would lead me to believe she's dissatisfied with her body, but that's not the norm. I mean, it starts young. And these little girls are watching their moms and their aunts and their grandmas and the women in their lives engage in behavior rooted in shame and fear instead of self-compassion, love, and acceptance. And that's what we're trying to change. Those are the cycles that we're trying to break. This is the work that needs to be done in order for anything to change, right? The culture needs to change. Up until now, we've been just trying to fit our bodies into the culture instead of changing the culture to fit all bodies. And body neutrality is such a wonderful way to get there. Because yes, this is all, it's individual. And also, we're talking about collective liberation. Again, that'll be a whole nother live. About like the bigger impact that doing this work yourself and for yourself, the ripple effect and the bigger impact that it makes. Because yes, we have to start here. And also, we have to have the bigger picture in mind, right? The next generation, how they're being raised, what cycles can we break, what things aren't helpful to us, and we know they aren't, and we don't want to continue passing that on, even if you don't have kids of your own, right? We're, again, changing the culture to fit all bodies. So I'm going to wrap it up. Not bad, 38 minutes. I'll end up hitting 40, but that's okay. Thank you for joining me if you were here. And I dropped the info for Body Image Breakthrough in the comments. Like I said, the goal of it is body neutrality. It is not to learn how to love the way your body looks. We are going to do a lot of unlearning, a lot of sharing, being in community. This is the stuff that women don't usually talk about when they're together. We just pretend that we're like, oh yeah, I'm totally cool with my body, right? Because you think everybody else is, when deep down we're all kind of struggling with the same thing. So we're going to have the conversations that you likely haven't had anywhere else. And we're going to celebrate ourselves, and we're going to eat together, and we're going to celebrate eating the things that were once forbidden, because that is how we undo this shit. And it's so important that we undo it for ourselves and for humanity as a whole, right? But body neutrality is where it's at, right? We don't have to be in love with how we look in order to treat ourselves with love, or in order to fucking walk with some audacious confidence. I don't love the way my body looks, and I walk with my fucking head held high and am more confident than I ever have been in my entire life, right? So get in there with me. We start in July. I would love to have you. Feel free to DM me with any questions and to see if it's a right fit for you. Never, ever any pressure. All right. I love you all, and I will be seeing you again next week. Bye.